Hello, this is Montsame, Mongolian National News Agency. Today we invited Her Excellency President of the Republic of Slovenia, Natasha Musar, who is on a state visit to Mongolia and participating as a guest of honor in the World Women's Forum in Montsame. Thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us today.
More than happy to do it, sir.
Thank you. Slovenia is a beautiful country known to Mongolia for its high global ranking in education, tourism, winter tourism, transportation, digital transformation, and eco-friendly policies. During Your Excellency's visit, Mongolia and Slovenia signed a number of cooperation documents to deepen relations in transportation, tourism, forestry, and other fields. In which sectors our two countries have yet to develop wider opportunities for cooperation?
First of all, the most important point is that we are strengthening political cooperation, because politics is opening door for many other cooperations. And I'm happy, really happy to be the first president of the Republic of Slovenia to pay attention and a state visit to Mongolia. It's a great honor for me. And of course, I'm happy because the business delegation was here with me as well. And as I often say, every single country on this planet has to be aware that it is not a lonely island inside of or in the middle of the ocean. So the cooperation is needed, the global cooperation is needed on many fields. Of course, economical cooperation is very important for the country, for its people. But we have to cooperate on global political issues and above all, in climate change.
Thank you. Last year, our two countries celebrated the 30th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. Mongolia attaches high importance to Your Excellency's visit to Mongolia, which is the first state visit from Slovenia to Mongolia. How would you assess the significance of Your Excellency's visit to Mongolia?
I have met your president already, I think, 2 times. First time last year at the General Assembly of the United Nations, where we had a really nice talk. And he invited me to the Global Women's Forum a year and a half ago already. And then we've met this year at the Paris Olympic Games. Of course, I accepted the invitation already a couple of months ago, and he was happy in Paris to meet me and looking forward for me to come to Mongolia. Being here on a state visit, it's a huge obligation and responsibility for me and for your president. But I have to tell you that this state visit was on such a high level that I can only say thank you to your president and to your country. I was, of course, also happy to be one of the keynote speakers at the Women's Global Forum because being a first female president of Slovenia, I pay attention to feminist politics, I pay attention to gender equality, and talking to your president 2 times before coming to Mongolia, I realized that your president is paying a lot of attention to gender equality as well. So we are like-minded in this field, and the conversation was easygoing because we agree that we have to do the most what we can, to support women in our countries, to give them the opportunity. And I will say one sentence: every single country would be totally unwise if it would have neglected the half of the potential of the country. Women do represent half of the potential. In Mongolia, there are 51% of women and 49% of men. And the synergies between men and women are the synergies which can do a lot. And I strongly believe in that. The world is going to be much better if women and men are going to cooperate hand in hand.
Of 7 billion people of the world, in the last 60-year time, less than 100 women, precisely 76 women, have led their nations and headed the state. Madam President, what qualities of a women politician do you respect?
First of all, I think we are approaching 8 billion people on this planet already. And you did your homework. So 76 women leaders in the last 60 years. I didn't know about that number, but I do know that there are currently only 17 presidents being the heads of state out of 193 members of the United Nations. So the women are in minority. In European Union, there are only 3 female presidents. In wider Europe, there are currently 7 or 8, because in Switzerland they change every year. Currently, there is a woman who's presiding, Swiss Confederation. I don't know why it is so hard for women to achieve such high position. Sometimes I am saying that I'm pretty sure it's a problem inside us as well. You know, I read an article once that when women decide to run for a high position, they have to be 90% sure about the content and topics they have to cover on this position. So 90%. Men, they have to be sure only in 60%. So this is the difference between men and women as well. But every single politician or a CEO of the company on a high position, we are paving the path for the girls behind. You know, even politics is not okay and gentle if there are no women in politics. Currently in Slovenia, we have 35% members of the parliament who are female. For the first time in the history, we have a female foreign minister. For the first time in the history, we have female Speaker of the House. And for the first time in history, female President of the Republic. So the things are changing. But what is most important to give women an opportunity and a chance? Politics should be adapted to that in a positive way. And I can tell you one saying. What's the difference between gender equality and gender equity? Gender equality means that you give everybody a pair of shoes. But gender equity, which means justice at the end, means that you give to a person a pair of shoes which fits the size of her or his feet. So when we talk about positive discrimination, we have to adapt policies. And this is what the United Nations are talking about. This is what the feminist politics is all about. And the Global Women's Forum here in Ulaanbaatar was full of such stories. And at the end, science, social science is telling us where you have women, you can reach peaceful solution faster. And for example, I will give you one example from European Union, just a brief one. Recently, we adopted a legislation that 1/3 of the members of the board of the stock market companies should be represented by women. 1/3. And there is a logic behind. The scientists calculated that the companies where the women are in the boards have higher profits, are more profitable, are more successful. So let's take this into account. And please give us a chance. We do have brains, we do have knowledge. We are not alike. Of course, our muscles are smaller, but that does not mean that we cannot contribute to the society. And women in Mongolia and in Slovenia are doing enormously a lot. And I have high respect for women in Mongolia because I heard many beautiful different stories how women are progressing and in trying to improve the economy. And I heard that at Mongolian homes, women are in charge of the finance. And that's good.
Thank you. World Trade cited the words you said upon assuming the post of the head of the state of Slovenia, that Slovenia needed statesmen who work for the well-being of the future generations of your country and not the men who seek re-election.
Yeah.
What do you think we must do today for our youth, especially girls and young women?
This is the saying which is, I use it since I decided to run for a president. Because when I was deciding whether to run or not, the first question was, what do I want to achieve? Why would I want to be a president? And then this saying popped out from Google, you know? And it goes like that. The politicians work the way to win the next elections, and the statesmen or stateswomen work for the next generations. I've achieved many things in my life. I don't need anything in my life anymore. And I decided that I will dedicate at least 5 years of my mandate to my country, to serve my people. Nowadays, I often see, that there are too many politicians and only a few statesmen and stateswomen. But this planet needs more wise men and wise women really, because we are in big trouble. We are in big trouble because of the conflicts around the globe, and we are in big trouble because of the climate change. And we need people who see 2, 3 steps ahead, not only 1 step ahead to the next elections. And I think that it is possible to find wise and people who are oriented in the future. But at the end, in every single democracy, it's on people whom they are going to vote. And this is why we have to teach young people what's important for the country. It's not only economical growth. We often speak about economical growth and GDP per capita, because this is showing the strengthness, the economical strengthness of the country. But at the end, we will have to learn today, not tomorrow, because it's going to be too late, how to live with less but better. And this is what I want to teach young people in Slovenia. I want to spread this virus around the globe. Wherever I go, I try to discuss this, especially with the young people. Because, I'm going to live for 30 years more, maybe a couple of years more, yeah? My son is going to live for 60 years more. And his kids are going to live in the next generations. And I always have my son and his school friends and young people ahead of my vision. And I want that the people all around the globe would vote for politicians who are statesmen and stateswomen. This is my wish.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. So Slovenia ranks 5th in the world by its eco-friendliness.
Yes.
Your country has achieved a notable success in environmental conservation. Mongolia is as well a nature-friendly country with a unique nomadic lifestyle. So the World Women's Forum is dedicated to consolidating collective efforts for greener future for all. So what are the expected outcomes of the World Women's Forum?
You cannot expect like concrete decisions and resolutions and things like that, but having 700 women in Ulaanbaatar in this forum, 250 from foreign countries all around the globe, that just means that you gathered here the ladies who know what to do for the better future. For example, main topic of this forum in Ulaanbaatar was women for green future. Like in any other fields that we were discussing before, having a synergy between men and women is essential. To fight the climate change is essential. And yesterday, I said one beautiful saying at one of the speeches that I had at this beautiful forum. In Slovenia, we say that the apple doesn't fall far away from the tree. It's on mothers, and of course fathers as well, to teach the kids how to live with the nature. And if the mother likes the nature, it will pass the knowledge to her or son or daughter, or more of them. Yeah? And we have a wonderful project here in Mongolia, which is connecting Slovenia and Mongolia, forestation. Mongolia is only covered with forests in 10%, and a huge deforestation is happening in your country. Slovenia is covered by forests in 60% of our land. By the way, your 10% is more than our 60 because Slovenia is so small. But we are offering a knowledge how to do afforestation for a long term, and we are teaching here Mongolian rural and some urban women as well. Nearly 400 women were taking part in this project already, and I saw the connectivity between these women and the friendliness and friendship between Slovenian experts and Mongolian experts. Every single tree that we do plant, we are extending the lungs of this planet. And this is what it's all about. Again, not being a lonely island in the middle of the ocean, because to fight climate change, every single country has to do its part. Mongolia and Slovenia included. And Slovenia is really very green. Slovenia is called the green treasure of Europe. Slovenia is the most circular economy in the world. So this is what we are trying to do, despite the fact that we are geographically small. We are taking our duty to preserve the nature really very seriously.
Thank you. So, Madam President, what is the role of women leaders in catalyzing environmental actions?
As I said, to teach the kids, to inspire men with our energy, that nature is our mother. So, and it would be, again, unwise to leave the women out of these climate change fights, despite the fact, that we are here discussing a man's world, fossil fuels, oil companies, that's a man's world, mostly man's world. But again, we will have to start the phase of fossil fuels out. In Slovenia, we did a lot already. We are going to shut down our thermal power plant by the year of 2030. This is the reason why we are thinking about building another nuclear power station, because it's green if you are taking care of nuclear waste. That's the fact. 25% of the energy comes from the renewable energy in Slovenia already. A huge progression in science. We are seeing all over the world how to use hydrogen. Green hydrogen is, of course, a future to be as well. And I know that Mongolia is working on renewable energies as well, and I applaud you for that. You are thinking about the windmills, solar energy. Slovenia is very strong in solar. Wherever you go in the country, you could see solar panels connected to the nature, not to be an abstraction, the visual abstraction. So renewable energy is the future for the planet.
Will you share with the best experiences the world could learn from the Slovenia's digital development?
Yes, Slovenia is very digital, and we have the most AI experts per capita in the world. On every 7,000 people of Slovenia, you have one AI expert. A lot of startups. We do have an AI center in Slovenia under the auspices of UNESCO. So we are really very digital, and a little Silicon Valley is developed inside of Slovenia. We are competing with the Irish Silicon Valley, which is currently strongest in Europe. We do have one advantage, ex-Yugoslavia was really a data filing country. A lot of registers were established, and Slovenia just did an added value to digitalize every land register, the voting register, tax register. Everything is and we are working on the connectivity as well, bearing in mind, of course, human rights and data protection, not to have one big brother. I used to be the information commissioner, and I was, the guardian angel of the data filing systems in my country, and I never allowed to connect all the data filing systems between each other, because then you have a big brother. We want to have little sisters. So this is what we are doing. And of course, is also the future. Solutions are not going to solve all the problems. I often say this as well. Men brains, human brains, women's brains will always be needed, and human labor will always be needed. If you go to a hairdresser, you will not let the robot to color or cut your hair. And if you go to a doctor, you would not want to listen to a robot to tell you what's wrong with you. So we have to maintain the humanity and dignity inside us, and be careful how and when to use artificial intelligence. That's the topic that I really like discussing, so I can continue hours and hours talking about it. But Slovenia is very digital. And in Mongolia, I'm pretty sure that you do have AI experts as well. I told to the business delegation, check, because in every single country you can find young people who are crazy on modern technologies. And in Mongolia, I'm pretty sure you have IT gurus as well.
Thank you. So, Madam President, what is similar and what is different in our two countries' environmental conservation culture?
You have a much bigger country than we have in Slovenia. You are, as far as I know, the 15th biggest country in the world. So you are really, yes, you are really huge. But I see more connectivities than differences, to be honest. When I was talking to your president, and I had a chance to go to the rural areas as well to talk to people of Mongolia, I saw the love for the nature in every single heart of a Mongolian person. And this is the connectivity between Slovenia and Mongolia. We love nature. We would do everything to preserve the biodiversity, to be sustainable, to keep the green treasure of Europe. So that's what's connecting us. Politically, of course, we are like-minded countries. We are fighting for human rights, democracy, despite the fact that you are living in a more politically different situation, being surrounded by two big countries of this planet, China and Russia. We are part of European Union, and as European Union we are stronger together. But still, I see the development of democracy. Above all, I see also the rise of the GDP, so your economy is getting better. And just to mention, check the data of China 30 years ago, and today is one of the strongest economies in the world. Of course, it's a big country, the population is big, but even small countries by population can do better. Every single country can do better. Slovenia is progressing. I will just tell you, a couple of numbers. When we entered European Union 20 years ago, our GDP per capita was 17,000 euros. Today, it's nearly 34,000 euros. So it nearly doubled in 20 years. And Mongolian chart is going the same way. And that's why the economical cooperation is needed. But never forget, whenever we do cooperate, either in business or in politics, we have to think about our people. That means dignity, humanity, human rights, democracy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.